So outside of left field, starting pitcher, the fifth spot in the rotation, will be the most watched position battle this spring training. And it's because the Braves just have a ridiculous amount of depth. You have an outside chance of Colby Allard. I would be shocked if he started in the starting rotation, but he's in the mix. The Braves like him. There's a reason they acquired him. But primarily, you have Bryce Elder, Mike Soroka, and Ian Anderson. And I've written several times that I think Ian Anderson is the favorite because I just think the talent is too much is there. I thought he was going to develop a third offering. I thought that was a no-brainer this offseason, that it was almost a must if he wanted to continue being a major league pitcher. He has come back with a slider. I'm very excited to see it in spring training. Obviously, Mike Soroka, we're all rooting for him. We started off the beginning of the show talking about him and his ceiling being the top of basically any player on this team. I mean, he has real NL Cy Young potential. We've seen it with our own two eyes. But then Bryce Elder can't be counted out because if Mike Soroka can't stay healthy and Ian Anderson struggles, Bryce Elder is kind of like Mr. Consistent. Like, I know what I'm going to get out of Bryce Elder, which is, a mid-3 ERA. I'm going to get innings out of him. He's not going to strike out a ton of batters, but that's super valuable in its own right, especially for a fifth starter. Just a nice innings eater that gives you a chance to win every time out.
Yeah, you said it best. Anderson and Elder are middle to back of the rotation guys. Soroka's an ace. He was. If he could stay healthy, we talked about it. He's already suffered a little hamstring thing. Nothing to freak out about. But if he can just be healthy and be consistent, like we said, come September, come October, Soroka will be a real weapon. If I had to put money on it, you're right. It's got to be Ian Anderson. Regardless
out of
of
camp,
what he did,
out of camp, like
out of camp. Yes.
I think out of camp. But at the same time, like, I almost put Bryce Elder right there in the same category as Ian Anderson. Like,
Let's just get this out. They're all gonna start throughout the season. Colby Allard's gonna start. They're all gonna start.
I don't know about Colby, but
I guarantee Colby Allard will start. I guarantee it.
I don't think so. But
injuries are inevitable. They always happen.
But now you're talking about 3 injuries needing to happen for that.
Let's say Mike Soroka starts in AAA. Ian Anderson flames out, and then all you got is 1 injury.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
Ian Anderson flames out, but Ian Anderson struggles again.
Now you're saying everyone needs to flame out. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Listen, I'm not saying it's impossible Allard does, but I'm not saying it's a guarantee. That's kind of where I'm at. I just don't.
I'm going off of Alex Anthopoulos said 11 starters every year.
Buddy, I watched Colby Allard in his first stint with the Braves. I don't want that guy starting. And he didn't get much better with the Rangers, I'll tell you that much. Now, the Rangers aren't great at developing their pitchers, but, I mean, there is a reason why they got him back, because they traded him away. I mean, he traded him away a few years ago, I think 3 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Ian Anderson has to be viewed as the favorite. Obviously, Mike Soroka has the highest ceiling. Bryce Elder.
Rock solid.
I mean, I just could see Bryce Elder. Like, it wouldn't shock me one bit if Bryce Elder came out of camp and went, I have a feeling Mike Soroka starting in AAA. That's just my gut feeling. I could be wrong. He obviously wants to begin the year on the opening day roster, but I have a feeling he's going to start in AAA. And then I think it's between Ian Anderson and Bryce Elder. And listen, I'm excited about slider man Ian Anderson. I hope he took some lessons from Luke Jackson, but I gotta see him have some success first in spring training before I'm completely sold on Bryce Elder. I know, rock solid. That's all I can say about that guy.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's enticed about Ian Anderson. What are you, 1.26 postseason ERA? I mean, the guy's ice cold,
which is just absurd.
So, yeah, it is absurd. And so that's where everybody's
games were Astros and Dodgers. Like, the guy had a no-hitter in the World Series against the Dodgers with against the Astros with 2 pitches.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just that you can't make that up. So if you could get a slider on that man, if you could get a good slider on that man, and listen, the Brave slider has been something that's taught organizationally through, and I've talked about this on previous podcasts. It's taught organizationally. It was passed down, starting with Luke Jackson was actually the guy they really started teaching it to a lot of their younger players. Huascar Ynoa started throwing it then, and that's how they taught Spencer Strider it. And they really teach. Now, Luke Jackson's no longer with the organization, but I guarantee you they haven't forgotten how to teach their players that pitch. So I'm interested to see if it kind of follows the same mold as, Luke Jackson and those other guys, if it's that hard swiping slider.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that unfold. But Alex Anthopoulos said it we're going to see, he said, on average, 11 different starters. Colby Allard's going to start one game. I guarantee at least.
Well, I mean, if you want to get into that, what about Jared Schuster, the top prospect in the organization? You could definitely see him. I think I wrote, guys that you could see in 23: Darius Fines, Dylan Dodd.
Everybody's been talking about Dylan Dodd at camp right now.
I think those guys are guys that you're probably maybe even more likely to see than Colby Allard. I'm just not listen. Colby Allard's been a prospect since 2016. Like it's 2023. Like he hasn't done anything in the majors. Like I have a hard time believing he's just going to turn it around. And there's nothing when you watch him that you're like, damn, like that's going to pan out. So I'm not as sold on Colby Allard, but hey, hopefully I'm wrong. He could make a start, but I would rather see guys like Schuster and Dodd and Darius Fines and guys like that if we need 11 starters.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think the funniest thing about all this is, it's not a, trivial discussion. It's not a polarizing discussion among Braves country, but we're talking about the fifth starter. I mean, this is crazy. We won't even need a fifth starter come the postseason. It won't even matter. It'll be Fried, Soroka, or I almost just said Soroka, Fried, Strider, Morton, Wright. I mean, that'll be
you never know.
Games
Soroka,
1 through 4.
Soroka could be in the mix by then too, battling. Who knows? If his ceiling is just as high as anyone's, so it is pretty insane. It just shows you the depth of this group. And listen, like you said, Anderson, we're not even talking about as a potential postseason pitcher. He had a 1.26 postseason ERA. Elder, we haven't even seen over a full season, but he finished the year hell of a year.
Shutout.
Just so much talent in this. It's an embarrassment of riches when it comes to starting pitchers. And think we traded away like 3 of our best prospects too, and Mueller and Tarnock and all those guys. So those guys will be missed, but they've got plenty of prospects to pick up the slack.